So there is a lot of confusion about what an asset is and what a liability is, and you're going to hear a lot of false information out there about what is and what is not a liability. So today I'm going to go over the top 2 liabilities in your life that you can turn into an asset. So let's get going. The simplest term of a liability versus an asset is a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, and an asset is something that puts money into your pocket. It is really strange how the 2 biggest liabilities in the United States happen to also be the most expensive. Before I get started, go ahead and smash the like button, smash the like button for my YouTube algorithm, and check out my ebook on Amazon, Living on Almost Nothing. I'll leave a link in the description below. So the first liability is your house. And a lot of people like to say that this liability is an asset because it increases in value and you can sell it at a profit. While houses do increase in value, I'm going to throw some counterculture math at you real quick. So let's say you buy a house for $200,000. You're not really paying $200,000 for that house unless you're paying for it in cash. The majority of people are going to take out a 30-year mortgage, which is crazy because banks are now allowing for 40-year mortgages. So unless you buy your house when you're 25, you won't even have your house paid off by the time you retire. But anyway, if you take a look at your amortization schedule, I know I said that wrong, but I have a really hard time saying that word. You are actually paying over $100,000 in interest on your house. So thus making your $200,000 house a $300,000 house. Okay? So some time has passed and you're getting ready to sell your house at a profit. Since you think that you only paid $200,000, you're getting ready to sell it for $300,000. Well, after you sell it for $300,000, you have to pay your realtor $15,000 to sell it, bringing it down to $285,000. This is already a loss because you paid $300,000 and you're actually only getting $285,000 back. That doesn't even include any capital gains taxes. So how are you going to turn this liability into an asset? So there's not really a whole lot you can do. Remember, not only in addition to the interest that you're paying, you are paying for upkeep, maintenance, property taxes. You have to do landscaping, dusting, mopping, vacuuming, cleaning, caring for it. And that doesn't even include any renovations that you make. Maybe the bathroom goes bad, you have plumbing issues, electricity problems, and these are all things that you have to pay for. This is only assuming that you didn't have any of those problems in 30 years, which is highly unlikely. So you're probably spending a lot more than you think on your house. But the first thing you can do is you can rent out a room. Now, a lot of people say that they don't want to rent out a room because they don't want strangers in their house. Well, I pretty much have lived with a roommate all of my entire life. Back in California, my mom, what she did is she took the giant, it's not a living room, it's I don't know what kind of, it's a giant room, and she put up a wall. Like, she built a wall and a door, and she made that big giant room her bedroom, and then she rented out the master bedroom through my entire childhood. And even when we left the house, she also had a roommate, and when I technically inherited the house, I inherited a roommate as well, which only worked out for about a year because she was crazy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So renting a room, depending on where you can live, it can net you a whole bunch of money. But if you were to rent a room, and let's say your house was paid off, this would already pay for your property taxes, no matter where you live. Whether you live in the Bay Area of California or you live in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, your property taxes are going to be based on the location you live and the value of your house. So if you're renting a room and your house is paid off, it's already paid for your property taxes. In some cases, it can pay for your property taxes and your utilities. So you've got cable, internet, like some roommates want cable, some don't care, but you can go the Roku box, Netflix, Disney Plus, stuff like that. But that can pay for your utilities as well as your property taxes. The next one is going to be Airbnb or VRBO. Now, you guys know what these are. These are where you can rent out a spare room in your house for a pre-designated amount of time. So this one is kind of weird because you have to have a stranger in your house 24/7. They're always going to be there. Oh man, one roommate we had was bad, not because they were a bad person, but their schedule, they worked overnighters, so they were always sleeping during the day, and we had to be like super quiet while like the whole entire day, so that kind of sucked. But with Airbnb and VRBO, you can rent out the room for a specific amount of time. Let's say, you know, you're really short on your bills this week, so you want to rent out the room for a week or two just to catch up. That's something you can do. Another option that you can do is you can, like if you're going on vacation, you can rent out your house or just a room or your entire house just while you're on vacation. So if you're going away for 2 weeks, somebody comes into your house and they use your stuff, and then when you come home, your house is still there and you don't have a roommate that you have to worry about. This is a really great way to make some money when you pretty much have a liability that you're not using for a certain amount of time. So that is definitely the way to go, is renting things out. If you want to be super creative, and this is something that we did too, if you have like a travel trailer or a camper, something along those lines, if you have it parked in your front yard, believe it or not, people will pay good money to live in your trailer or your camper as long as they have electricity and bathroom facilities. So this doesn't even, it's pretty much, they don't bother you. They're not going to be in your house. They're not going to be in your kitchen cooking weird fish and funny tasting, smelling stuff. They're going to be out in the trailer just sitting on your property. And if you use your trailer for 2 to 4 weeks a year when you're on vacation, that still leaves you 48 to 52 weeks where you can rent out your trailer. You can do this as an Airbnb, a VRBO, or you can do it on a monthly basis. And this is something that we did as well. So let's go ahead and get on to the second one, which is your car. And this one has some pretty interesting prospects as well. So your second biggest liability is going to be your car. I'm not very good at drawing cars, so forgive me, but here's some wheels, and here's like the body of the car. Okay, it's like a wagon from the 1920s, but so here's your car. And so everybody thinks, you know, you can do Uber, DoorDash, those are things that you can do. So turning your car into an asset. So if you're paying the, is it DoorDash? DoorDash, yeah. So if you're paying the monthly bill on your car and you want to make money, you can do Uber and DoorDash. Those are the simplest things that you can sign up with an app. And you know, if you want to do it, this is pretty much transporting people, and this is pretty much transporting food for people. So if you don't want people in your car, you have the secondary option of delivering food for people, which is great. So there is another thing out there that they did back when I lived in California. I commuted in the Bay Area of California, so you can imagine it was pretty bad. Thank goodness I had an opposite commute, but even with an opposite commute, it was pretty bad. And this is turning your car into a billboard. So let's go ahead and get into that. Here are 5 legitimate companies that you can use to turn your car into a billboard and get paid for it. So usually it ranges anywhere between $50 and $400. But if you don't want to do Uber and you don't want to do DoorDash because you're worried about the mileage you're adding to your car and the maintenance that you might have to do because of all the extra driving, this is something where if you're going to be commuting to work or driving the kids to soccer practice or what have you, what they'll do is they'll either wrap your car in some sort of sign design, or they'll put like a billboard up on top of your car, kind of like you see with Domino's pizza deliveries and stuff like that. But the cool thing about these billboards, so I've seen them, some of them are just standard billboards on the car, but some of them are electronic and they have these marquees going across them that have like words and it switches and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. Not so safe for people who are reading it, but if you're caught in traffic, I guess it doesn't matter. So you've got Carvertise, Free Car Media, Referral Cars, Sticker Ride, and Rapified. You can go ahead and look those up. They're going to be different depending on what is best for you, and these don't work in all areas. So if you live in the middle of nowhere, it's more than likely, unless you're making a huge commute to a large city, you're not going to be making any money, because some of them do it based on miles, some of them do it based on location, some do it based on the time that you're in your car. So it's really going to be different on each and every one. But if you don't want your car to smell like Chinese food by doing DoorDash, and you don't want strangers riding in your car, and you don't want to put extra miles on your car, this is pretty much just something that goes on your car and you can use while you're driving it anyway. So if you have to commute to work and you're doing it anyway, you might as well make some money off of it. I had a friend who did this for a while, and she made, I think she said she made $250 just by having one of these boards on top of their car, and they will do the installation for you. So that's not something that you have to worry about. So these are the 2 top liabilities that you can turn into assets without really doing any work other than posting an advertisement on Airbnb or getting a renter or whatever works for you. It's a way to make money. Actually, it's tax-free money, because you don't really, well, no, it's not. It's not tax-free. You should claim everything you make on your taxes. I'm just saying. But, you know, this is pretty much what it is, folks, is if you're going, and also if you're going to be buying a liability like a house or a car, I always recommend buying the cheapest liability that you can. That means if you're a single individual, you shouldn't have a 5-bed, 3-bath house. If you're a single individual and you live in the city, what are you going to be doing with a Hummer? It's not like you're going to go 4-wheel driving. You might as well get a cheap used car that's going to be, if you're going to buy a liability, it's less of a liability. All right, folks, I hope that this has been helpful. Don't forget, whether you believe that you can or you believe that you cannot, you are right. Prepper Princess out. Who's my doggy? Who's my doggy? Mommy's got to clean up some doggy doo. Are you being a good boy? Are you being a good boy? Yes, you are. Oh, you're such a good boy. What, you want a belly rub? We'll give you a belly rub. We'll give you a belly rub. There you go. Who's my boy? Who's my boy? Oh, legs? You want the leg? Right there? Right there? You want under the leg? Okay. We'll get under the leg. Right there. Right there. Right there. My sweet boy. My sweet boy. Yes, you are. You're such a good doggy. You're such a spoiled boy. You're so spoiled. You're so spoiled. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Who's a happy dog? Mr. Droopy Face. Yeah. My sweet boy. Floppy ear. Even your floppy ear. Floppy. Good boy.